Hello everyone. In today's video, we're going to discuss some exciting news in the cryptocurrency markets, particularly in Hong Kong, that could have significant implications for investors, especially those in China, and how this may affect Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. And if you find either of these interesting, then definitely watch this video. Good evening, everyone. I'm Josh, and you're watching Crypto Bits, your go-to channel for Bitcoin and crypto news. Now, let's dive into the first article. So, the title of this article says Hong Kong listed Bitcoin ETFs could unlock up to $25 billion in demand, the crypto firm says. Now, Singapore-based Matrixport expects mainland Chinese investors to move billions into potential Hong Kong-listed spot Bitcoin ETFs through the Stock Connect program. And further on, you can see it says mainland Chinese investors could pour $25 billion in potential Hong Kong-listed spot Bitcoin exchange-traded funds through the southbound Stock Connect program, according to Matrixport. One Hong Kong-based observer said mainland Chinese funds have been applying to issue spot ETFs through their Hong Kong subsidiaries. Hong Kong, one of the world's leading financial centers and a gateway for outbound Chinese investments, is set to approve a spot Bitcoin exchange-traded fund tied to Bitcoin. The investments vehicle could unlock up to $25 billion in demand from Chinese investors via the southbound Stock Connect program, according to Singapore-based crypto services provider Matrixport. The southbound Stock Connect allows qualified mainland Chinese investors to access eligible shares listed in Hong Kong. A likely approval of Hong Kong-listed Bitcoin spot ETFs could attract several $1 billion of capital as mainland investors take advantage of the Southbound Connect program, which facilitates up to 500 billion RMB, which is 540 billion Hong Kong, or 70 billion per year in transactions, Matrixport said in a report Friday. Moving on in the article, based on the potential available capacity, this might result in up to 200 billion Hong Kong dollars of available capacity for those HK Bitcoin ETFs, or in US dollars is 25 billion, Matrixport added. The estimate is based on a blue sky assumption that the average amount of the unused annual Southbound Connect quota over the past 3 years would be channeled into the spot ETFs. The Stock Connect program allows mainland Chinese investors to snap up 540 billion worth of Chinese stocks annual. This is Hong Kong dollars. However, flows in the past 3 years have been 450, 400, and 320 billion, falling short of the limit by 100 to 200 billion, according to the data source 360 Market IQ. Hence, there's potentially Hong Kong 100 billion to 200 billion in quota left for Bitcoin ETF investment flows. If the approval occurs without any restrictions, Hong Kong 200 billion is the equivalent of 25 billion US dollars, Matrixport explained. And we have here a chart of the Stock Connect southbound cumulative annual flow. So how much money is flowing into this over the past years, as they stated. You can saw in 2020, there was more money than in 2021, 2022, and 2023. And so far for 2024, you can see currently we are, I believe, at 120 billion Hong Kong dollars. This is a large amount of money, and we can expect that this trend to continue to go up, but we don't know if it is going to go up here or down here, but we can assume the trend is going to be up and to the right. And so moving on further in the article, it says, as of this writing, it's unclear whether the impending spot ETFs will be open for mainland Chinese investors. That said, mainland China seems interested in diversifying into alternative assets, as evidenced by the recent surge in gold prices in Shanghai. The tightly controlled Chinese renminbi, or yuan, has declined nearly 2% against the US dollar, extending the 2-year losing streak on the back of an economic slowdown and shrinking trade surplus. China's RMB is at a 17-year low versus the US dollar. Indeed, there is a demand for diversification, Matrixport said, noting the Chinese central bank's continued gold purchases. Nick Ruck, COO of Content Phi Labs, said mainland funds are interested in issuing ETFs in Hong Kong. Mainland-based funds have been applying to issue spot Bitcoin ETFs through their Hong Kong subsidiaries. If approved, this could allow qualified mainland investors greater access to Bitcoin. Ruck, who is based on Hong Kong, told CoinDesk. And according to Nikkei Asia, top Chinese fund manager Bosera Asset Management's Hong Kong arm, Harvest Global Investments, and Chinese brokerage GF Holdings owned Value Partners have applied for ETFs in Hong Kong. In December, a report by Hong Kong Exchanges and Clearing Limited said the Stock Connect program was expanded to include Hong Kong listed ETFs in July 2022. As of mid 2023, the program included 6 Hong Kong listed ETFs, and their average daily turnover grew to 2.9 billion Hong Kong dollars by September. The U.S. greenlighted nearly a dozen spot ETFs 4 months ago, and since then, these funds have amassed $12 billion US dollars in investor funds, pushing Bitcoin to new record highs above 73,000. And that is the end of the article. Now, let's just kind of go over and break that down and summarize what they are saying and extrapolate some of our own opinions on what this means overall for Bitcoin. So what does this mean for you and I? Well, from what I'm deducing from this is that this is just another opportunity for investment, because we know that there are global markets around the world that's in countries that still are not able to access Bitcoin through their fiduciary advisors. So if you are an institution or you're an accredited investor in these countries, you are still banned from buying Bitcoin without directly finding someone to buy it from, because they do not have someone like Coinbase in those countries where they can just go and buy it off of that exchange and then send it to their wallet. They do have Binance, but for the larger players in the market in China, they have been restricted from accessing Bitcoin. So this is a great way for them as a tool to diversify. As you can see, that some of that money in China is moving into gold and silver and other commodities because the dollar is not performing so well. And so in order to beat the inflation that happens in those countries, they need to find something that's going up because the dollar is going down, especially against the US dollar, which is also going down because that is also inflated. So they are definitely looking for a flight to safety now, and Bitcoin could be a very good choice for them. And now that avenue for these investors is now finally opening. And the market impact for this could probably be a very good thing. I believe some traders, some investors will tell you that like markets are very forward looking, and so most articles and news that you hear is already priced into the price, which is why we're at 70,000 already versus being at 50,000, and then this happening, this ETF launching in Hong Kong, and then the price going up. But on the contrary, we have an event where we can see that currently so far, looking at the Bitcoin inflows or the ETF inflows. So going back to the article here at the end, it did say that the U.S. greenlighted nearly a dozen spot ETFs 4 months ago. Since then, these funds have amassed $12 billion in investor funds, pushing Bitcoin to new record highs above 73,000. So looking at that and knowing that if and when this Hong Kong ETF is approved, that we'll see 25 billion more US dollars coming in, is a quite significant increase. We've already seen what $12 billion can do to the Bitcoin price. So imagine we practically triple those inflows. I mean, the price of Bitcoin could just go insane. Now, we don't know if that 25 billion is going to just flow in a short period of time, or if it's going to be over a year or 2 years, or how long it's going to take to flow in. But we can expect, since we are moving into a bull market because of this halving combined, we can expect that this money will come into the market relatively quickly, in my opinion, but this is no guarantees. But add on to that, that we have the halving coming up. So you're looking at tripling the demand while also cutting the supply in half. So how crazy the market can get, and not to forget and factor in the halving is in 7 days. We could be seeing Bitcoin easily reaching, in my opinion, 100,000 in the short term, like a month or by summertime, because the supply was going to be cut in half and the demand could be tripled. We've seen that Bitcoin ran from 40,000 to 74,000 with 12 billion. So so adding another 25 billion, we could probably see another $40,000 run up, if not even higher. And also adding on to that, there are only 106 million people who own Bitcoin. The daily Bitcoin users is around 400,000, so it is still very lightly used by the global population. Now, Bitcoin now has become more of a store of value, but that is because the technology still is being worked on and developed to where we can use it in our daily lives. Now, when we do see that, I can expect that Bitcoin will probably be worth millions, if not tens of millions of dollars per coin. Now, it could even, in some predictions, some people have said that it could be worth $100 million per coin. Now, I think that is very unlikely, but over time, yes, certainly. But in the short term, say the next 10 to 20 years, I cannot see that happening. If it does, then I don't even know. I will probably buy a huge island somewhere or even build one myself if that happens. But continuing on, you can see that we are still very early and that it is never too late to buy Bitcoin and hold. And I think no matter what, long term, you're going to be fine because Bitcoin will continue to go up and it cannot be stopped. And the government will eventually fold as well as the banks. And you are already seeing them come in now, and they're doing it in a disguise known as BlackRock and Fidelity. Another note here, the percentage of global Bitcoin owners is at 2.74%. And that is a very, very small number. And we also know here that the global population is 8 billion people. And another thing to point out with technology, because we have to look at Bitcoin as a innovation and revolution in money itself that we've never seen before, which is why we're seeing such huge price increases in a very short period of time. As like we saw in the early days of the internet, it took about 30 years for people to actually come to use the internet in their daily lives for social media and information. And still, there is a lagging population, as you can see here, that does not use the internet. It says here, according to Google, about 66% of the global population uses the internet, meaning that basically 1 in every 3 people out in the world do not use the internet. So once those people come online, they will be discovering things like Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies and social media. Because right now, Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies is mostly like a buzzword that people speak about to their friends and family, or they've heard it through a coworker. But it's just a buzzword, and most people aren't in the industry. They just talk about it. I mean, obviously, if you're watching this video, most likely you are investing yourself, or you're just wanting to become educated on the space itself. But either way, Bitcoin is still a very niche market, and most people do not even know how to use a wallet or store crypto safely. So if you are investing now and you are doing that, you are still very early. And that wraps up today's video. I want to thank all of you guys for sticking around and watching the video. And as always, please leave a like and subscribe and comment below if you have any questions. And make sure to stay safe out there. And as always, keep calm and crypto.